Amazing.
Participants can see my screen. Excellent. So good afternoon, everyone. Apologies, we're a couple of minutes late. Thankfully, one of us works for a tech company, and it's not me, but we got this running. We're just going to be a minute or two. We can see that the number of people joining is rising and rising there. So thank you for waiting. Give us 1 minute and we'll get up and running just as the numbers, as everyone gets joined up and ready to go. So we shouldn't be too long today. Again, thanks for joining us. See, the numbers are still popping up there. People are still joining at the minute. So bear with us 1 minute and we'll get up and running properly. But thanks for bearing with us for a minute or two just while we got our technical issues resolved. So I think the numbers have kind of stabilized. Nope, we've a couple more joining. So thanks for bearing with us. And we should be, I don't want to leave it too long waiting. I know we were a couple of minutes just late starting. So I think we'll get going from here. We've a fair chunk of the people who should be here are with us there now. So Chazelle, you can still see my main opening slide, I presume there, yeah?
Absolutely, yes.
Excellent. So thanks to everyone for joining us. Myself, my name is Brian Carolan, product owner here at AutoEntry, and of course, Chazelle Hunt is the partner manager with Next Minute. Good afternoon, Chazelle. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm very well. How are you?
Good. Once again, everyone, thank you very much for joining us. At any stage during today's session, you can, of course, you'll see at the bottom of your screen there, there'll be a Q&A button. And we will have a Q&A session at the end. So any questions you have at any stage during the session, just pop them into the Q&A. We actually have a couple of the guys in the background that will answer a few of the questions live as we go through them. But we will hang on to some of the questions until the end as well. So what we're going to run through, and just a very quick overview, introducing panel today, which we'll do in 1 second, what's happening with costs in the world. And of course, we're going to be specifically looking at the construction trade primarily, but don't forget, we will mention both construction companies as individual businesses, but accountants and bookkeepers as well. So those of you who might be in practice, maybe you've heard of one of our products, maybe you've heard or used both of them, certainly for individual businesses as well. We'll be able to go through a full explainer on how AutoEntry and Next Minute can help you out. The easy way to get cost transparency, certainly through the two products. We'll do a quick rundown and a quick demo on both of the products, myself with AutoEntry and Chazelle, of course, with Next Minute as well. So as a quick introduction, as I said, my name is Brian Carolan, product owner with AutoEntry, have been with AutoEntry since before it was launched back in 2015, one of the older members of the team here. And of course, Chazelle, if you want to say hello.
Hi guys, I'm Chazelle. I'm the partner manager here for Next Minute in the UK. I've roughly been here just under a year. So I look after you fabulous bookkeepers and accountants. We also have, as mentioned before, we also have Josh on, who is our customer engagement manager. He will also be answering some of the questions, as Brian did mention before, but feel free to say hello to him as well.
Super. So we'll jump into it. As we said, we're looking at kind of costs and trades presentation, going through some cost transparency and how products like AutoEntry and Next Minute can help you as we go through that. So we'll start off by just putting it all in context. It's tough out there, I think, is an understatement at the minute. We've a mild switch. Oh, sorry, I thought you said something there, Chazelle. There is obviously issues that are going on, and without being the bearer of bad news, and I would presume everyone is aware of this, costs are still predicted to rise over the next year, certainly year or two anyway. They are turbulent times. And one of the biggest issues is, of course, supply chain. Certain parts of the world are still battling COVID, that awful C word that we were hopefully banished into the distance. but it's still going to linger on. Certainly China is going to have problems for a while yet, getting supply chains back up. It's impossible to get some products, basics such as bricks, sheeting, lumber, all shooting up in price, some becoming very difficult to get. And it's probably still going to be unsettling for a while yet. And according to surveys, 46% of builders and tradespeople believe material costs are the biggest challenge this year in 2023. So no matter what's going on in the world, it is still at the forefront of everyone's mind. Of course, I'm based here in Dublin in Ireland, and consultants here have said even concrete costs have increased by almost a third, brickwork by nearly a quarter, reinforcement steel by nearly a fifth. So it continues to bounce up and up and up. Hopefully should settle off soon, but it's very much still a growing trend.
Absolutely. We've seen it as well, because Next Minute is an Australian New Zealand company. There's been a lot of shortages over in New Zealand in the sense of timber, and then also because of all the floods in Australia currently, they're seeing a great impact there also.
Of course, absolutely. So what inflation still pushing on, the highest it's been for 40 years, pushes up wages, pushes up the rate demands and wage demands for those of you who employ people, of course. We've gone from a boom. We were having a great health time. COVID came along, and we were all locked up in our houses for 2 years, which was horrible. People are just an awful lot more cautious. And of course, even in the UK at the minute, there's an awful lot of pressure on wages. Chances are inflation will still go up. There was a good report came out, if anyone saw it, from December, that performance was still okay despite strikes and including Christmas sales and everything else. So inflation is still there. Quotes that are being provided by builders and tradespeople, they can be a bit of a shock sometimes because they weren't expecting it, or maybe they got a quote pre-COVID and all of a sudden they're updating that quote and it's an awful lot higher than it used to be. And inflation and supply chain issues just mean those costs are going to continue to rise. And for all of our builders and tradespeople, of course, you're finding that specs are changing mid-build. Maybe owners or customers are looking to downgrade elements just to try and reduce the cost.
Absolutely. We found it as well. You know, if you're hiring out machines, your labor costs, anything else has dramatically increased. I had a look at a poll recently, so up to over 4% has increased since 2020. So it has really impacted the construction sector.
Of course, absolutely. So, next one. So, I went too far, excuse me. So there is, of course, a renewed focus on cost. Costs are going up. There's not a lot we can do about it at the minute, but it's not necessarily grin and bear it. What we get is a renewed just focus on these costs, and it's driven by those, whether it's your customers, whether it's your clients, whether it's your suppliers, whether it's you yourself and your employees. Larger operations, of course, have cost reports and variance allowances, and they can have cost centers and they have detailed an awful lot more. But for smaller individual businesses, for smaller, I'm not going to say the generic one-man band, but certainly for smaller businesses, it's usually down to a single sheet quotation that the client considers is cast iron. So as soon as you give a quote, that is it. Clients believe it's fixed, but you know full well, of course, it can change on a daily basis. With any luck, you could have a contingency fund built into the contract, but with the way prices are going and the way they have gone, that can obviously disappear very quick as well. And too often, a contractor will either have to soak up the increase, reduce the profit, or nearly panic on what to do, how to talk to a customer, how to talk to a client on the increase in cost. And of course, customers get very suspicious about that. All of a sudden a price spirals, or they feel like it's going out of control, possibly a loss of trust, and everyone gets unhappy. And none of us want to do that. We all want to enjoy our job. We all want to be able to quote customers or quote clients the real cost of the job, irrespective of what may happen going forward.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree with that. A lot of people are having to absorb the costs. Currently, we're seeing it a lot with our construction clients when they're ordering new stock coming in, whether that's a bathroom tile, anything all the way up to a brand new roof. Sometimes they're having to absorb them costs themselves as tradespeople, purely and utterly because the cost of everything is going up.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple of solutions on how we can make this a little bit easier. So number one solution, and I must say, of course, I work in a tech company, a data extraction app, which sounds horribly boring, but as a tech company is, if tech companies, we're terrible. But as it happens, every now and again, we do have to talk to our customers about their prices. We had to do a price increase ourselves last year, relatively recently, and it is a daunting task. But absolutely, just talk to the clients, and even do so frequently. Of course, our prices would stay relatively constant. We're not under the pressures that you guys are under, certainly with the increase in prices that's going on. But absolutely, keep a line of communication that's open. Let the client know you're on their side. Aim to be an advisor to guide them through that project. You'd be surprised. The more open you are about it, customers will absolutely trust and believe in what you're saying.
Yeah.
From day one, let them know the issues that are going on with costs. Let them know that cost increases should be considered. You can add in that contingency price to cover potential increase in costs. But of course, you're not even going to be able to plan that or predict that very accurately. Anything more than a few weeks long, any jobs more than a few weeks long, is likely to be impacted because chances are something is going to change in price, something is going to change in availability, and you have to get a different supplier or a different product. So quotes given in advance, they'll need to be reviewed before the job is due to start. Make sure that the quote or estimates are still accurate, and start with the easy questions. You'd be surprised. Everyone will always say, construction industry, big, strong guys and girls might be a little bit angry before they have the cup of tea in the morning, or the big burly lads, and they look far too strong and intimidating. But if you just ask the customer how they're doing, you'd be amazed how easy it breaks the ice. And this is, it's something very, very simple. Just have a chat to them. How are they doing? Are you okay with the quotes that we have outstanding? Let them know. Point out any articles that have been in the press of price increases or businesses going into liquidation that might increase prices in the future or might alter products that you're looking to source. If you can cover the cost within any extra in contingency that you had within the quote. And just having a general chat to them. Daily reporting on costs isn't even such a crazy idea. Let them know day to day what you've been buying it at, and how it compares to the original quotes or estimates. Giving them more detail, they will become much more open, and they'll become much more focused on A, the cost to them. Of course, they're the one who has to pay for it, but B, that you're being open and transparent with them. Keep the issue at the front of their mind. There's no need to hammer it down their throat all day long, of course, but if you have a discussion with them each day, hey, look, we got everything that we were purchasing yesterday and everything that we're looking at supplying today, all within the estimate, that's even a good sign. And then you're not having to report on purely bad news every single time. But don't be afraid to avoid the hard questions. Raise the issue before even the client gets a chance to ask them.
Absolutely. We totally agree with that. We know that sometimes tradespeople have a reputation being a little bit uneasy at certain times, like you said. So we totally get that. And one of the things that we do at Next Minute, we are really, really prominent on open and honest communication. We do have multiple features in Next Minute where you're able to access and speak directly to the customer. So whether, like you said, that's sending an updated quotation, sending them over and accept or reject, they're able to do so themselves there. You can pop over a quick text message. So, just like what Brian was saying, it's much more easier nowadays to be open and honest. And it saves a lot of headaches in the long run, rather than you keep going backwards and forwards and then get into that sticky point. If you're transparent through and through, it's an easier process.
Absolutely. So Solution number 2 is to start keeping stock. Now, this might sound like a fairly obvious one. There is pluses and minuses for keeping stock, of course. Always have a talk to your accountant. What's the cash flow? What's the accounting implications of doing so? And it's not always to keep stock if you are very much built to order or customizable, a customized service. So if it's very much built to order, it might not be possible to do that. But the ability to buy lower and sell higher is a real possibility, as old as that phrase, as old as that saying can be. But you're looking at bulk buying at a wholesale price. Try and concentrate less on, I suppose an awful lot of people might sneer at me here. I am consumer, but maybe less of B&Q and more of the traditional builders, providers or suppliers. And it avoids difficult conversations about unexpected cost rises. You're not all of a sudden buying a part for triple the cost that you could have bought it if it was wholesale or if it was through an agreed supply chain. But I know some builders, tradespeople, they might say, yeah, it's a nice idea. I just don't have the space. The van's already full. Absolutely true. The idea of maybe a simple lockup, even a self-storage unit where they're within managed properties, there's no or less risk of security. Of course, having a lockup somewhere means you're not keeping all of your. And I actually used to work for Hilti Power Tools in the previous role. Some of your tools can be particularly expensive. So there is the extra cost on getting a lockup or getting a managed lockup that is safe and secure. However, you can claw that back by the bulk purchases and the savings, the economies of scale, essentially, when you're buying those bulk products. Certainly worth considering. Of course, the way the world is today, you have to start thinking the unthinkable, but having a simple lockup can actually facilitate that bulk purchasability or being able to hold the stock.
No, I totally agree. And I do think it's quite a good idea in the sense of, like you said, the warehousing opportunity to be able to store some bits and bobs that you need.
Of course. Didn't change. Now, and the third one and the last quick solution is cost transparency. So here's a big trick. Aim for a level of transparency with your client discussions. Aim for a level of trust that makes the client think you're acting in their best interests. There can be no secrets. There'll always be a couple of secrets, but generally try and keep out the secrets. But you should very much aim for cost transparency. When the costs change, or if the costs change, whether it's at the point of purchase, for example, you can get new documentation out to your clients as quick as possible. And the quicker you can update the client on the change in the cost, again, the more trustworthy they'll be. You're not thinking back, oh, wait, now there was a receipt last week that was a little bit more expensive than we thought. That can sound a little bit odd. Whereas if you're physically at the wholesaler, you're able to update your client straight away saying it's gone up by X percent or X pounds. That makes it much clearer, makes it much more transparent. And of course, any proposals or estimates that you have should reflect that change, that you're not having to go back and edit and change things when the job is complete and you're looking for final payment. Invoices being sent to clients, for example, should also reflect this. So getting a updated invoice or an update proposal or an updated estimate out as quick as possible. Now, you're probably one step ahead of me here. No one wants to spend their life issuing invoices and updating proposals when the cost of something increases by 50p or even a couple of percentage points. And that's where auto entry and next minute aim to step in. We kind of make a little bit of magic happen. Amongst many other useful things, we can create that cost transparency that we were talking about.
Absolutely. We've previously done probably around about an hour-long webinar just discussing this with us. That's this called scope creep. Once everything starts creeping up and up and up, and how do you manage it equally? Just like you said, being able to provide them quotations, them invoicing. It might add a little bit more admin work, but at the end of the day, it's going to save you a lot less stress, a lot less headaches, and you're adding everything in, like you said, keeping everything completely transparent.
Scope creep, is that when the customer says, actually, can we move that wall a little bit?
Can I go over here? Yeah, can this do it? That's the one. Yep.
So besides looking at all the costs and the transparency and those three solutions, what exactly is Auto Entry and Next Minute? As I said at the start, some of you are probably aware of maybe one or the other of us. Some of you possibly use one or the other of us. And some of you are probably sitting there going, no idea who you are or what you do. Auto Entry, of course, is we've got a very boring title. It is a data extraction tool. It sounds awful, but our customers love us. So our target is to eliminate manual paperwork or manual data entry, which effectively means, as you can see on the screen, that's Auto Entry. Actually, the image on the right hand side is Auto Entry. Anything you buy or indeed sales, snap through the phone app, it uploads straight into your account in Auto Entry, and we do a full extraction, an intelligent extraction on that piece of paper, where we will extract the relevant fields. We've got AI, artificial intelligence and machine learning, obviously in the news an awful lot recently. We've had it for a while, but however, AI and machine learning will then extract the correct information from that. You can very quickly categorize it, and at the click of a button in Auto Entry, it's published through to your accounting package. So straight on a mobile app, as you buy, whether it's a receipt as it is in the image there, or a full A4 invoice, makes it quick and easy to get that piece of information first off into your accounts package.
No, absolutely. So with Next Minute, we are a job management software. So we're specifically targeting the trades and construction industry, so small to medium residential builders. What that does, it takes care of your quotation, your timesheets, job costing, invoicing, back costing, invoicing, the lot. Anything you can imagine that you need, we've got that there at Next Minute. So it's great as well that we've teamed up with Auto Entry, because you can get all of your supplier invoicing into your preferred account packaging, and then we can bring it over into Next Minute as well. So then you've got the utter cost tracking services that you need there as well.
Yeah, exactly. So whether it's QuickBooks or Xero, for example, if you're using as your accounting package, I know our logo down the bottom left of the screen there says Auto Entry by Sage. We were acquired by Sage a couple of years ago now, three and a half years ago. But we're very much an agnostic part of the Sage group. So we're not exclusively Sage. QuickBooks and Xero, of course, would be actually our bigger integrations that we have, but full integrations with all the main accounting packages. So what Auto Entry does, we grab the data, we will present it, as we'll run through a quick demo in a minute. I'll be able to show it to you live on screen here as well. But the two apps together they're effectively game changers when it comes to administration. We aim to automate the process of getting that data in, and of course Next Minute looking to automate the data within Next Minute as well. First off, using Auto Entry, you buy something, purchase is made, or a cost is accrued in whichever way. You then forward the invoice from either the supplier forwards the invoice to you or straight to Auto Entry. If it's a piece of paper, you can snap the image or scan it using a standard scanner. We can extract all the way down to line item data if required, and the options are all there within Auto Entry. Effectively, what goes on in the background, I've mentioned it's AI and machine learning. There's a little bit of magic, but we'll extract all the relevant information, your invoice number, date, supplier name, net VAT total, line item extraction if required as well, and a full VAT summary if there's multiple VAT rates on it there as well. And as we'll see when we jump into Auto Entry, effectively 3 little drop downs, click of a button, and the data goes straight through to your accounting package. So once we get it through to your accounts package, Next Minute can take over with the data.
Yes. So as Brian said earlier, so we integrate with Xero and QuickBooks. So we have a really good two-way integration with Xero and QuickBooks. So what we're able to do is once it comes from auto entry, you can put it into your preferred account package, and then you can bring it straight over. Now from there, we can pick up your supplier invoicing. And as you can see, I will go over this in the demo a little bit more in detail, but you can pull across anything that you need and you can supply it to a specific job card. So that could mean that you can generate an invoice, necessarily a quotation, whatever you need from that pool there. You can also pick and choose what it correlates with. You can kind of see the little tick boxes, but again, I will go into that in the demo for you as well as other things that I'm going to show you in the end. It's easier to show you on the demonstration, I believe.
Absolutely, absolutely. And of course then real-time reporting, and I think Giselle, this is much more on your side within the accounts and minute.
Absolutely. So again, because we absolutely love accountants and bookkeepers, we are really, really strong. And of course, tradespeople, but we're really, really strong on reporting. So anything that you specifically need, so you've got your work in progress report, your back costing report, which is ever so great. It's a really great feature. It's probably one of my favorites, especially in this sort of webinar that we're hosting at the moment, because you're able to see your progress. You can see what you're currently billing, what your profits are, what you're losing money on. Of course, we don't always like to know that, but it's always great to see. And again, we do integrate with Xero Payroll as well. So if you are doing your timesheets, you're pulling some payroll reports, you've got that two-way integration. But it's also great for you guys as accountants and bookkeepers. Once you go into Next Minute, you'll be able to pull down a full payroll report as well. So there's no more waiting for that Friday afternoon to wait for your tradespeople to come in and tell you what you're doing. You've got all of that at the click of a button to be able to pull there. So any single report that you can think about, I'm pretty certain we have it. Actually, don't hold me to that just in case, but nevertheless.
I don't think an accountant or bookkeeper has ever waited on a client to bring them data, have they?
They have, believe it or not, they have. I literally, the amount of times. No, actually, they're really, really good, I promise.
So all of these features then, as corny as it is, makes everyone happy. Builders, tradespeople, your clients, your accountant and bookkeepers, for those of us here with us in practice, of course, your clients are going to be happy, you're going to be happy, everyone's seeing the data, everyone's having a nice transparent view of what's going on. And you can recover your costs faster for the tradespeople and builders. You're on top of everything. You're getting cash in faster. The accounts are clear and true. Your accountant is getting to see, and you're getting to see, profit at a per job level. So you can step in as quick as possible. Wow, my mouth stopped working there. You can step in as quick as possible if a product or if a problem ever arose, such as if there was a cash flow issue. Clients can know their estimate or updates nearly instantly. They can see any new costs, and that increases the trust, because if you're not on site and you're off to a supplier and all of a sudden the client gets a message that prices have gone up or there has to be a change in the estimate, they're not suspicious because they know you're out collecting a delivery or a delivery came through the gate onto the site that you weren't expecting the price to be any different. So there's no what we call sticker shock later down the line or at the end of a job when you're considering the entire cost. Obviously, it's not the individual costs as you go through the job, but the sooner you can let clients know that there is a cost change, the better they'll be able to handle it. And of course, it's just sowing the seed even in the head, even if they're not paying attention to the individual costs, that they're aware the costs are changing or the costs are going up, makes it an awful lot easier at the end of the job. And of course, more importantly, it's the reduction in administration. No one likes to do admin. No one likes to enter invoices and receipts into their accounting package, or even, heaven forbid, an Excel spreadsheet. But it makes life an awful lot easier. It takes out the kind of drudgery off the admin there as well. But it's not all that we're... Yeah, absolutely. Not all we're about. So let's have a look at some of the other features. So we're going to jump into auto entry first. Let me swap the screen share. Oh, I've swapped this. I didn't swap the screen share. I just stopped the screen share. Let me go back here and we can now share a screen. Oh, there's me for a second. There we go. Excuse me. So you can see my auto entry screen there now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. So when you come into auto entry, we built it both for accountants and bookkeepers in practice, but also individual businesses, irrespective of the construction trade. And as we mentioned, it's a tool for getting your data from a piece of paper into your accounting package. So down the left-hand side, what we would call a company for any individual businesses, this would be yourselves. We can integrate it with QuickBooks, as we said, Sage, Xero, and any other main accounting packages. And you can see very quickly when items are uploaded, they'll update your inboxes. And if we click into a company itself for, oh, my demo account has run out of credits, you can excuse that at the top there. So for every company, we give you 6 main folders. And the one that you're probably going to be most interested in is, of course, purchases folder. But we also do supplier statement extraction as well, which I'll mention in a minute. So you effectively are uploading your documents, whether you upload them through the website, click on the button up here, use the phone app, snap an image and upload it straight away, or indeed you can email them in directly, and you can give the email address to your suppliers and they actually forward it straight to auto entry for you. Once it's uploaded, all the magic happens. We receive the file, we'll split it out into individual invoices if there's multiple invoices all bunched in together and scanned together. If it's 3-page invoice or 1-page or 10-page, we'll recognize all of that and we do a full extraction on it. And if I click into the inbox, this is where you see what we've actually extracted for you. So from the left-hand side, we have the date on the invoice, we've the supplier names, we've 3 drop-down menus, and then a breakdown of your net VAT and total. If you're using tracking categories, locations, classes, project codes, cost centers, thankfully all the accounting packages use a slightly different name, but any of the tracking categories that you use can be selected here as well. And to get it into your accounting package, all you need to do is use the drop-down menu, select the supplier. So when we integrate with the likes of Xero or QuickBooks, we pull through your full list of suppliers. So you just simply select a supplier name, you select the category that you want it to be assigned to, and you select the VAT code. Auto entry will obviously recalculate it if you've chosen a different VAT code. We've the little blue tabs where we'll even suggest VAT codes or suggest suppliers to you. And once all 3 are filled in, you can simply click the green button on the left and it publishes straight through to your accounts package. We'll even remember these settings. So next time I get a invoice in from Dell or an invoice in from Sage or whoever I'm buying products off, we'll remember those settings for you and fill them in automatically. So you actually only need to use the drop-down menus once and auto entry will fill it all in for you going forward. A little bit of automation just to make life a little bit easier. Now we can, of course, also jump into an invoice itself. I have a Vodafone invoice here. It's obviously nice and old, so it's all the data is way out of date. But clicking on the view icon here on the left, and it shows us a bit more granular detail, but nearly more importantly, the actual invoice image on the right. And you can quite clearly see a photograph taken through the phone app, uploaded through the phone app. Auto entry does the full extraction. We even have the little delivery truck where you can do individual settings per supplier. And one of the great ones here is that we can auto publish it. So you open the envelope on the 1st of the month, it's your Vodafone bill, snap an image on the phone app, click upload, you've already got auto publish turned on in auto entry and we'll just publish it straight through to the accounts package for you. So you now don't have to do anything. And we can go so far as fetching the invoice for you in the first place. So we can do a full automation flow where we will go to Vodafone into your account, fetch the invoice for you, do the extraction. You've already told us how you want it categorized, so we'll categorize it for you and then publish it straight through to the accounts. So you get the Vodafone bill, you can literally throw it straight in the bin. You don't need to do anything with it because auto entry has already handled that for you. As I said, a bit more granular detail, but nearly more importantly, down the bottom, if there is a tax summary, as I mentioned, this is obviously an Irish Vodafone invoice, so we pay 23% VAT. It'd be 20%, of course, in the UK. If there's a VAT summary on the invoice where there's multiple VAT rates, that's automatically recognized. There's no extra charge on that. And we break it down per VAT rate, so you can even categorize it properly and individually per line as well. And then very simply, the publish button down the bottom. So you can work through your invoices in this view. If I go back to the list view, they are regular invoices like that Vodafone would have been, it's never going to go anywhere else. It's always going to be, you know, the phone expenses, it's always going to be 20%. You can just publish them straight through from this page. Across the top, we've the archive folder where we restore all of your old uploads. We've a rejected folder for anything we couldn't process. So handwritten receipts are always difficult, but you can still manually push it through and publish it through to accounts. And more importantly, the image of the invoice goes through with it. So you have a full digital audit trail there as well. The other one I'll look at very quickly, bank statements and sales invoices are probably obvious, but the supplier statements is a really great tool where you're purchasing from the same supplier over and over again. And maybe at the end of the month, you just pay off the statement that they provide at the end of the month rather than paying for each individual invoice itself. What you do is during the month, you're still snapping the image of the individual invoices and individual purchases, publishing through to the accounts package. So you have full proper accounts for each individual purchase. But at the end of the month, then you can upload your supplier statement. We'll again do a full extraction on all the individual details, and we'll even automatically reconcile it for you with the individual invoices that are in auto entry as well. And we can see very quickly, one in the middle here, this particular line on the supplier statement is not in auto entry. So it wasn't uploaded. Maybe the till didn't put a receipt, maybe it's stuck in the glove box in the van, maybe it's down the back of the couch, or the dog ate your homework. However, a couple of options that you can create, you can find a match, or you can even ignore it if needs be. But you can see straight away when the statement comes in at the end of the month, and before you pay the figure at the bottom of the statement, you obviously just want to make sure that all the invoices are correct and they're in the system and they're already in your accounts package, and you can then process the payment from there. So a really handy tool for any regular suppliers or any regular purchases that you're making. Of course, bank statements, if you don't have a bank feed into your accounts package, we can do full intelligent extraction of your bank statements there as well. And at any time, and Chazelle will mention on next minute as well, we've the blue bubble down the right-hand side. There is a free trial available with auto entry. You can always chat to our team. We've got our live customer support here at our head office in Dublin, whether it's our sales team, onboarding, training, all available within the app as well. You can simply pop a message over to our team and they'll be more than happy to help at any stage. So let me jump back in. I can stop sharing, and there's Chazelle again. I'll hand over to Chazelle, give you a quick look at next minute, excuse me.
That's the one, that's the one. You've done amazing. So I will bring us over to next minute. I'm going to correlate it a little bit over into supplier invoicing. So I'm going to show you a little bit of how that works with auto entry. So if you bear with me whilst I share my screen, this should work. Here we go. Is this all up? All good?
It is indeed, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so here is next minute, our fabulous orange as always. So you have all of our fantastic features down the side. So this is a tradesperson through and through. A lot of people you'll probably notice will say that tradespeople, sorry, there's the Australian, tradespeople will notice that sometimes they're not very tech savvy. We actually think completely different. However, it is very, very bog standard here. You've got your home, your calendar, job planning, timesheets, anything that you need to access is all here for you. Now, here's a lovely job card that I've already set up. I'm Shez, and this is my Shez's Sheds that I'm planning to make currently at the moment. So if I click on one of the job cards here, I'm just going to move me. Okay, so at the moment, as you can see, simply just from clicking here, I have my scheduled tasks that I have going on at the moment, any link contacts, some photos that I could possibly potentially upload, some notes, scribbles, etc., etc. You get the picture. Now here, once I go into the job card, anything that's associated with this job will all be pulled up here for you. So I have my labour, my materials, my disbursements and other items. So straight away, I can scroll down and see how much I'm billing currently at the moment. So at the moment, I know I spent quite a lot on labour, not that much on materials. So I'm not really sure what's going on there, but nevertheless. Okay, so once I go into my supplier invoicing, here is of course where we can add, it can come from Xero, it can come from QuickBooks, however it needs to be. So once you click here, you do have the process to either quick add. So if you want to just simply and utterly write that in, of course you can do so. You will find here as well that you can either import a file, or you can actually use a pre-built template. Now, all of our templates in Next Minute, you can complete and utterly create if you want to, or you can pre-build them, whatever you would like to do. At the moment, I'm going to click on Xero and see how that works and how that's going to be integrated. So it will pull up, hopefully. It's always technical issues. But as this screen showed previously in the presentation, it usually, if I go back, I'm so sorry, it's taken a while to load.
And people think these are recorded.
That's my internet gone, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm not sure what's happened here. I think it's completely frozen me out.
You're still live on the webinar.
Yeah, I'm still here, so I'm not sure what's happened, but I will just describe to you. It will pull up anything over the side that you already have in Xero that's possibly been pulled over from auto entry, and also it will have the other side, what you choose to pull onto the job card. So whether that means be that you would like to pull over, we always recommend the back costing feature on here, but anything that you need can be pulled over into this part. You can then create and generate an invoice from this position, and then go forward. But for some reason, my whole entire screen, I'm just going to stop sharing and then try and do this again, just in case it might have just lagged out a little bit. Bear with me. Here we go. Does it like me? So I'm not sure. Right. It's up and alive again, so here we go. Hopefully second time's the charm. Right, so I will share with you a whole entire desktop because it might just be easier. Okay, so we've gone on to our beautiful job card. It's every time, anytime I do it, it's always one thing that has to happen. Okay, here we go. This looks a little bit more successful this time. Okay, so we can filter out where you would like the date range to come from. Of course, I have nothing going on at the moment, but nevertheless, let's go all the way back and give that a quick go through. Okay, so exactly the same as how it showed on the webinar previously on one of Brian's slides. So here I have all of my supplier bills that are already imported into Xero, and I can quickly and utterly here have a look through. Now, if you do have, say for example, you have a supplier invoice, or you have an invoice, sorry, that's come here and it's your rent, you're obviously, of course, not going to invoice or send a quotation to the customer for that. So you're able to hide that if need be. It will give you a little prompt. Okay, would you like to hide this one? Absolutely. Now you can always go back. Anything that's been hidden, you can always go back if you've done this accidentally and pull that back in as well if needs be. So I always recommend keeping on the actual charges, but of course you can generate an invoice strictly and utterly from here, and you can of course set the markup. From here, you'll be able to select which job that you would like to use. So for example, I'm going to attach this to Shez's Sheds, and then that will then be adjusted and placed into Shez's Sheds for me. Now, so here is my lovely example. Now in Shez's Sheds at the moment, we currently have some charges. So where we said the variations earlier, if you are keeping really transparent is what we like to see. You can add on your labour costs, your materials to disbursement straight away. So you don't necessarily have to go through a big long process. So you can click here and you can see, okay, currently I have some labour workers here that I've added in earlier. So my ground worker, I might just want to put him on there. So that will now update me of how many charges are on Next Minute. So once I go back, that will now increase. I can have a look at my unbilled here on my job report, or I can have a look on the main job card itself. Now, lots and lots of great features in Next Minute. One of the things that I personally love is photos. You'll usually probably find that most construction people are full and full with their photo album. They've got a million different pictures in there. What they can do, instead of keeping that on their on their phone for them, they can upload this into the job card and create different parts of that. So that means if you are a director, you know, and you don't necessarily want to go down to site, you trust your guys, of course you do, you don't want to keep checking in on them, what they're able to do is update the process of how that's going. So for Shaz's Sheds, I might update what that looks like, and then somebody can come in and quickly have a quick check. Yep, that all looks fantastic, that looks great. Another great feature, of course, is our report system and back costing that I mentioned before. So just from this particular job, I can have a look at the report and what that's going to look like. So in this report here, it will, of course, tell me, it's just loading, it's my internet, I'm so sorry. So in our reports, it will either tell us, here we go. So it will tell us our estimated costs, our actual cost, your cost variance, your estimated revenue, what you've been invoiced, your unbilled charges, and so forward. So it's really, really great, especially for accountants and bookkeepers. It gets you back to the stage of where you can consult your clients again. You know, of course, sometimes we do often find that with particular trade people, they don't understand where their money's going missing, where their quotations lie, etc., etc. They've had 30 days on an invoice around about 4 months ago, you know, and here we can go through and see where everything lies. We also have, of course, the payroll report. So I'll just very, very quickly show you as well. So you can go through. So if I go over to my timesheets, here's some lovely ones that I made earlier. So really, really quick and easy. This can also be done on the mobile app as well. So once I pop that in there, I can then quickly see, okay, so what am I looking at? I'm going into Shaz's Sheds, and I can quickly and utterly add somebody in. So whether that means the total hours, I can also put in, so here I'm just going to put one person in for a total of 8 hours and then give that a save. That's now been updated. So I can quickly have a look here and see how much my total hours I've spent and how much I've spent all in the process. If I wanted to just quickly, utterly in one click of a button, pull a payroll report, I absolutely can do. And there's that for you. So like I said, no more waiting on your guys to tell you the updates. It's simply and utterly all there for you to have a look at. Of course, there's other fantastic, great features, but I don't want to go into it too much. So you're more than welcome. We can always personalize the next minute demo to yourself, and we can go over how that would look for you and your clients as well, whether that be any other reporting, your job planning, because we do also have our reporting lines in the sense of your work in progress report. We do have the step-by-step reports and what that looks like as well. And then, of course, we can go over the account packages also. So I will come back now that that's finally and utterly worked. Right, so here we go. Oh no, I've lost you. Oh, it's not liking me. Oh my goodness. I don't know what I've done.
You're still sharing the timesheets there, I think.
Yes, there we go. I'm back.
There we go.
So sorry, guys.
So that's brilliant. Thank you very much. We've a couple of questions coming in there, but we're nearly at the end. If I just jump back to sharing my screen here. So you should see, I think it's still on the auto entry demo, is it?
Yes, it's on the auto entry live demo.
Super. So we have the next minute demo. So we'll go through some Q&A. Any questions that you have, folks, of course, you'll see at the bottom of the screen, there's a specific Q&A button. You can type your answers in there. While Chazelle was doing her presentation there, I see Josh was answering some of the questions there. And there's one or two from me, I think, that are a bit more auto entry specific, which I'll have a quick look now. But as I said, any questions that you might have for myself or Chazelle, do pop them into the Q&A section and we'll jump through those. So there's two there I think are very specific to auto entry anyway. Steve was asking, does HMRC accept a JPEG image from a phone? It does indeed. I suppose people might not always say HMRC is the most progressive bunch of people in the world, but they do accept JPEGs or original PDFs. If it's a photograph of the actual original piece of paper, they're more than happy with that, which is why we have the mobile app that you can just snap an image and upload it direct from the phone itself. I'm afraid I might pronounce your name wrong. Shania, I hope. Can it enter credit notes as well? Yes, absolutely. Whether it's sales or purchases, invoices, credit notes, receipts, can handle all of those, absolutely no problem at all. And Alison asks, with auto entry, can I mark individual invoices to specific jobs? Yes, it depends on the accounting package, Alison. Some accounting packages allow us to do it. I know Xero and QuickBooks do. Some don't. So it depends on the actual accounting package that you've integrated auto entry to. If we can do it, we do. But not all accounting packages give us that kind of the ability for us to talk to their tracking categories or cost centers or cost codes, whatever. Each individual package calls them something different. But if we're able to over the digital integration, then we can do, yes.
Yeah. We had, I had one question that Josh has fantastically answered, but I just wanted to go over in a little bit more detail. So with Next Minute, the reason that we team up with accountants and bookkeepers, we do have a really fantastic partner program. So what that means for you guys is that you get a complete and utterly free account with Next Minute. So it means that you can log in. We give you different access to log into your clients' accounts as well. So that means, again, bringing you back to that stage, you can have a look and access any sort of reporting. So whether that be payroll reporting, the back costing reporting, anything that you can consult your clients. Now, again, we won't ever charge yourself for looking after your clients. That is completely and utterly free for you guys. It will just be the trade people that will be looking at Next Minute and popping that in, that will be a costing for them. But again, also with that, you get a one-on-one with myself. So that means that any time or day that you would like to, I'm more than happy to go through demonstrations with yourself, show you how the system works. We also have a really, really fantastic certification program. So you get a lovely shiny little Next Minute badge, just so that your clients know and to reassure them as well that you are Next Minute certified, you understand the system and you've seen the performance and how it will help them in the long run. So there's lots and lots. And of course, the other great benefit is that you get to give them a discount or take a little rebate for yourself. So many great advantages of taking advantage of our partner program. But of course, as Brian said, we do have, again, a nice little chat at the bottom of ours. Because we are Australian and New Zealand, you are looking at a 24-hour response rate. So any time or day, you know, I don't suppose you want to talk about Next Minute at 2 a.m, but if you did, there would probably be somebody there to talk to you as well.
I was going to say our chat is surprisingly busy at 3 a.m.
Well, I would want to talk about auto entry at 3 a.m. as well, to be honest.
I talk about it all day too. So before we finish up, folks, I know we were due to run for about an hour until 2 o'clock, certainly local time. Any other questions that you have? The Q&A box down the bottom of your screen there. I hope the button's at the bottom of the screen. Do pop any questions in. I think between myself, Suzelle, and Josh in the background, we looks like we've answered them all there at the minute. But don't forget what's up on the screen there. We both have special offers with subscriptions and offers available. Use the QR code. If you don't know, just open the camera on your phone and scan that, or indeed you can copy and paste that link into your browser. And we've got lots of great training, onboarding, as Suzelle was saying. Both of our companies, and we work so well together because we have the same outlook of we don't really care as long as the customer's happy, and we'll do as much as we can. We're always talking to live people on our support. We're always talking to live people when it comes to training or one-on-one demos, demonstrations and help. So anything that we can help out with, we're more than happy to provide. Shania, hopefully I'm not pronouncing your name too wrong there. Sage Auto Entry, what is the success rate percentage? Percentage success rate. I'm not sure what exactly you're referring to. If it's the successful extraction of invoices, we don't actually measure it because the failure rate is too small, which sounds like a bit of a cop-out, but we process north of 100,000 invoices per day, and the failure rate is less than 1 per day. So it's extremely small. Handwritten, or if it's a blurry image, of course, system won't be able to extract that. If it's you take a photograph on your phone from 6 foot away, the text will be too small. So there's technical reasons why we might not be able to extract a page, but we'll have it in that rejected folder that you can review it and push it through to the next stage if possible. But our success rate on the extraction it's virtually 100%.
Amazing.
Otherwise, no, thank you, no problem at all. Otherwise, if there's any other questions, folks, from myself and Giselle, thank you very much. We'll be here for a couple of minutes anyway. I believe that's you've nothing else to add at this stage.
I think I've kind of, like I said, I'm always here to do some live demonstrations. I can tailor it to yourself. We also do with our partner program, like I said, we do full training, onboarding as well is all included. So that's for you, your clients, and that's the fantastic Josh who has been answering all of your questions. He's absolutely fantastic. He takes your clients all the way through right to the end. You know, real good personal experience. He even goes sometimes into offices as well, so you might even get blessed with lovely Josh. But again, with the partner program, it's your choice.
You're going to have to get John the camera.
Yeah. I'm hyping him up so much he has to join. But yeah, with us with the partner program, you know, I can give you full support and training. So if you wanted to enroll that to your clients, then you can do. If not, then we're more than happy. Again, we can sit on calls with yourself and you can bring your clients in. And that's when we can talk and then go through that process with them. So you've always got that good response with your client because we know that they're yours. You look after them. So we want to make sure that trust is there and very transparent as well. Like Brian said, auto entry and Next Minute have the same sort of values. You know, we trust, we know, you guys know what you're doing, so of course your clients do too.
Super. So we're almost at the hour. There's no other questions there. I think we will wrap it up. If someone's typing, hit enter quick. No pressure. Again, folks, grab the screenshot of the 2 offers that are there as well. Yeah. Come back to it. I saw someone ask if a copy of the recording is available, and Josh, I think, already replied back that a email will go out. It can take, I think, up to 24 hours sometimes for Zoom to process the recording. But there's a recording will go out as well that you can come back to it and copy those links if you don't have it. But certainly drop ourselves an auto entry or Next Minute a message, a phone call, a web chat, and we'd be more than happy to help if anyone's stuck at anything at all. And hopefully you've enjoyed the webinar. We haven't ruined your lunch too much. Certainly, I think one half of the screen was a little bit nicer to look at than the other half. I can only apologize. No,
both is amazing.
I'm getting a lot grayer than my photo at the start of the webinar implies. But look, guys, thank you very much for joining us. And again, any questions, any queries at all, do please let either of us know. We'll be more than happy to help.
Thank you ever so much, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Cheers.
See you later.